the latest figures, Sri Lanka poverty rates has reduced from 6.7 to 4.1%. What does it mean? Actually, 4.1% of Sri Lankan population is below the poverty line. In simple words, 4.1% of Sri Lankan population, they don't have an ability to pay at least 4,166 rupees per month in order to satisfy their basic requirement at minimum level. So that is the basic interpretation of this headcount index. But moving much further, so I would like to highlight another few points. Actually, by looking at the latest figures, we can conclude that the Sri Lanka's poverty reduction achievements are much impressive compared to the regional counterparts such as maybe India and Bangladesh. Actually, why I am saying that is Sri Lanka could reduce the poverty rate from 28.8 in 1995 to 4.1 by 2016. So by looking at this trend, if you take the overall picture, of course it is impressive. But the pathetic situation is we cannot see this overall picture in the each and every sectorial level. For example, if we take rural sector and state sector, their poverty levels are much higher than compared to the national average and also the urban average. So this is the fact that we need to consider when we are talking about the poverty. Moving to the second point, that is the last HIES report, that is Household Income and Expenditure report during the survey year 2012 and 13, which has identified that there are several poverty pockets in Sri Lanka, such as Badulla, Monragala, and Mullaitivu. But when it's come to 2016, the poverty incidence of these poverty pockets has significantly reduced. So I think that is a very much interesting thing, because in terms of poverty pockets, because Sri Lanka could reduce the poverty level in the selected these poverty pockets, but however, still if you take the Punarin in Kilinochchi district, still recorded the highest poverty rates in Sri Lanka. But moving to the inequality concern, of course the latest report indicates that inequality has reduced from 0.48 to 0.45, like just a very negligible or insignificant reduction here. But apart from this reduction, if you go back to maybe two decades back, the Sri Lankan inequality is highly fluctuating all the time. So then I personally believe that in order to have a significant level of poverty reduction, so first we have to tackle the inequality matter. Why I'm saying that is, of course, the higher inequality always reduces the phase at which the growth translated into poverty reduction. So therefore, I highly recommend to address this issue, because there should be a kind of redistribution of policies to address this inequality matter first. According to the reports, actually this report is highly focused on the monetary aspect of the poverty. So therefore, I would like to highlight some points which is not indicated in this report. The first one is actually, despite this report indicates that Sri Lanka poverty rate is just 4.1%, but what we need to focus is there is a kind of near poor and vulnerable non-poor. Who is known as near poor or vulnerable non-poor? They are just above the poverty line. Technically, they are non-poor, but they are just above the poverty line. Therefore, any kind of shock at the micro level or macro level, they maybe fall back into poverty. So then, if this kind of situation, the poverty rates can be increased unexpectedly. So therefore, we have to concern about this matter first. Secondly, as I mentioned earlier, this headcount index is highly the monetary aspect, but the monetary aspect is not enough to measure the poverty. Why? Because the poverty is a multidimensional concept. So we have to consider the monetary aspect at the same time their health, education, and living condition as well. As we know, there is a multidimensional poverty index which is developed by the Oxford University. So then it is highly necessary to adjust this index in the context of Sri Lanka and calculate the multidimensional poverty index in the context of Sri Lanka. Thirdly, as we know, now we are moving from Millennium Development Goal to Sustainable Development Goals. If we take the first goal, that is relevant to the poverty. If we take the 10th goal, that is relevant to the inequality. So then, of course, there is a high kind of debate and discussion about both poverty and inequality, but what we need to focus is we have a clear target ahead. So then, by 2030, we are going to eradicate poverty by all its forms. At the same time, by 2030, so we are going to have the reduction in inequality. So we have to keep these targets in our mind when we are going to, implement any kind of policies towards reduction of poverty or reduction of inequality.